Good morning, Rosie.
Good morning, Carol. How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Doing good. We've both been pretty busy, haven't we?
Yes, we have. It's
And it, and we're
doing
already in February. Can you believe it's February of 2024 already?
yeah, I mean, I'm ready to put January behind me, I think. There are
Good.
a lot of things have happened in January, especially the last week was very much a roller coaster of energies a little bit. So
hmm
I'm looking forward to moving into a new month.
Good. Well, and we have a leap year. We have
Yes,
29
yes,
days this month, so that's pretty exciting.
yes. So we are here for our monthly readings. So we welcome everybody to our radio chat, I guess.
Yep.
So let's move into my computer always does that to me. Okay, here we
There
go.
we go.
So we of course are using our self-published decks, the five that we've created, the I Am Oracle, working with colors, the crystal, Oracle of Crystal, Gemstones and Rocks, and a few metals.
Yeah,
The embracing the consciousness of my I am and the manifesto day.
right. They're beautiful decks. I'm so proud of them,
Yeah, we're
if I
getting
do
really
say
good.
so myself.
I think we're biased, but we get good feedback. So
Yeah, we get feedback and people enjoy them, so that's really good. So tell us who you are, Carol.
so I am an integrative practitioner of metaphysics with I call myself I have a magic box of tools like Mary Poppins has her magic bag. I so I'm putting all of those in as an integration to help best my clients and to also create tools that are purposeful and that stimulate potential growth. And I'm really passionate. I was talking yesterday in explaining how the deck work with people, and it's really about having people would experience from a sensory approach. And I want to, because I feel like once you start feeling, you can't deny the experience. So it's my want and desire to have people feel their way through the the decks, working with the decks. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, and I'm happy to support clients privately and in group sessions, and I do a few fairs and this and that. So
Yeah, very active, very, very versatile, very versatile because you have studied and practiced many modalities. So that's wonderful. And then you create tools around those for other people to travel their journey, their spiritual journeys. You're pretty awesome, if I do say
thanks.
so myself.
So let's meet you, Rosemary.
Hey, Doki, I'm Rosemary Nevada. I'm a psychic medium. Um, I like to use my aptitudes to communicate with all manner of beings, including those who have transitioned. And I do direct readings, I do card readings. I love divination tools like the oracle decks that we've created and tarot cards and runes and all kinds of divination systems. I'm very passionate about using the aptitudes that I have to be of service to others. So that's my thing. And of course, working with Carol, creating cards.
Yeah, we love our process. We work really beautifully together. So I'm very appreciative of you and your energy and your knowledge. Your years of teaching have really helped me grow also in terms of.
Oh,
So thank
well,
you for that.
that's my job. And it's been such a beautiful, easy journey because our energies and our style of the essence of who we are just melded nicely to work as a team uh, doing what we do. It's really been, thank you for taking me along on the ride.
Well, thank you for saying yes to it without knowing where we're going.
Yeah, hey, but that's part of it, right? You never really know where you're going. It's one foot at a time, so one step at a time.
That was my motto for several years when I was rebuilding myself. That was
Yeah, one step at a time, one day at a time. Yeah.
yeah. So let's see what we have for this month. So this is our intention is always to support others in attaining a state of well-being through balance and experiencing a way of life that is both unique and blissful to you through the practice of a soulful, joyful living lifestyle. So it's really about embracing who you are and making what making things work for you. You know, we're not here to tell you what to do, but we're hoping that what we're sharing helps you navigate life in a more positive and more soulful and joyful way.
Right, right. And in alignment with ourselves,
Right.
being in alignment with ourselves and our own journeys.
And I because I was doing the daily oracles, I was recreating those I can see we're very much geared into people reaching their potential.
Absolutely. It's all about potential, potentiality,
Right.
for sure.
So let's see what we got. So
We have quite a bit.
did you want to start or do you want me to
Go
start?
ahead. Go ahead. You start, I'll follow.
Okay. So the card for this month, I have a lot of reflection here. This is the theme. So we use the Manifestor deck as our theme for the month, for the message. And this card is evolving into light. So this talks about how by releasing our fears and the resistance to evolving into light. Sometimes our fears just hold us back because we don't know what's on the other side of the coin, or what once we open that door, what happens next. And I know I was tentative because during my marriage and doing this kind of because I didn't know where it was going to lead me and how it's going to impact me and how it's going to change me and then how in a relationship how is that going to play out. So I gave myself a lot more freedom once I stepped out of the relationship and being
Right.
able to do what I'm doing here. Um, sometimes I know you have the saying some people are here for a day, some people are here for a season, and then some
Yeah,
people are here for a
a
lifetime.
reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Right. So, you know, we have to
Yeah.
accept certain things as they as they happen. So this card also talks about how we when we evolve into light, we there's a process to go through, and it's really leading you to your understanding of that you're eternal and infinite.
Yes,
And then each time you break a pattern, you level up to a new landing place of expanded perceptions, perspective, and consciousness.
right.
And definitely doors open as you evolve into light, and then it's really stepping into who you're meant to be
Hmm.
and recognize. I think it's about recognizing who you are rather than becoming something. I struggle with the word becoming because we already are who we are. It's just a
That's
matter
right.
of remembering who we are.
Right. And then evolving from that,
Right, right.
remembering who we are and evolving from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I love this card. I love the process of shifts of perception and seeing things from seeing the patterns, perceiving the patterns, and looking at them and understanding them and working with them in a different way. And I love that your sensorial approach.
Mhm.
So yeah, if this is such a great card for encouraging you to uh, tap into who you're meant to be.
And I love the like the imagery. And let me see if I can. Yeah, let's hold it together, both of us, so we have different reflection. But it almost looks like stairs at the bottom part
It
here.
does. It
And then
does.
and as you're stepping, you're being shy a little bit in terms of
Hmm.
the light. And then once you step into that, then it becomes an expansion.
Yeah.
And I always believe that once you start, you can't go back.
No, it's like when you've heard or something or seen something, you can't unhear it and can't unsee it. And once you
Right.
start that stepping in process, you're on the move and you've
Yeah.
already had experiences that are going to change who you are. So yeah.
So part of my evolving into light, for some reason this is coming up. So I was in my old house before my divorce, and I was already separated, and I was sitting at my desk, and we had a beautiful home, and big windows on the side of the my desk was kind of facing forward towards the door, and then on the side I had two long windows.
Hmm.
And then behind that outside was the hose holder to water the plants. And I a red a red tail
Red-tailed hawk. Yeah.
came and purchased itself on the stand. And
Wow.
I just stood there for minutes. It was there, and I was just observing it. And for me, it was kind of like, okay, I need to pay attention to what comes into my awareness. And it was such a beautiful gift. In Virginia, the red tail are very common. So, but for him to come, I call it him, I guess for it to come right, you know,
Right
inches
there in
away
front
from
of you.
me outside the window. It was really a beautiful experience.
So you want to hear something crazy? I had a very similar experience.
Okay.
I was getting ready to leave Arizona to come back to New Mexico, and I was moving out of my casita out in the country that I'd been living in. And I was out on like 17 acres of property. My landlord also lived on the property, and I lived in his old business office. Trans he'd changed it, he'd remodeled it and made it into a casita. I had fox there, I had coyotes, I had ravens, I had owls, I had hawks, I had all manner rabbits galore.
Yeah.
And there was this couple, red-tailed hawks, who had a nest built in a tall pine tree near my house. And I could hear their cry. They have that real high whistle that they do. And I could hear the babies when they were being fed and stuff. And I just
Mhm.
loved them. And when I would hear them, I'd send heart energy. And
Yeah.
I was very sad about leaving that space and all the wildlife that I had been able to see and enjoy the several years I'd lived there. So I had moved everything out, and I realized I forgot something. It was a step stool that I really liked, and I wasn't willing to part with it. So I drove back out to the casita to get it. I went in the yard, I grabbed it, and I went back out and put it in my trunk, and I closed my trunk, and I looked up on the gate post that I'd just come through, and there was a red-tailed hawk sitting there.
Nice. Nice.
And
So
I
it,
looked, and it looked at me, and I looked at it, and it was probably a full 2 minutes
yeah.
before either one of us moved. And I was moved. I was the one who moved, got in the car, closed the door, and it sat there and it stared at me through the windshield. And it's like, you're shifting, you're changing, you're evolving, you're moving forward. It was a message that it was giving
Yeah.
me, and it came to say goodbye.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was like a singular experience,
So it's almost like it was saying goodbye to you, and then for me, it opened the door to something different.
something different.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, and it was recognizing that I was opening the door to something different. It was bidding me adieu.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was very cool. So that's interesting that we had that similar experience
Yeah. And it feels like they were here to embrace change for the both of
for the
us.
both of us.
Yeah, it's like we were both going through change transitions,
Yes.
and because I remember it was at the beginning, of my journey into into healing,
Hmm.
And yeah, it's really cool, really interesting. You both have.
Yeah, it was thrilling. So that's interesting. We both have hawk friends.
I love the whistle. We have a few that fly around here as well, and I just love when they whistle.
Oh, when they make
The
that
sound.
noise, I
Yeah,
love that. For some reason, it's very calming to me. It has a very calming effect on me.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay,
guess,
cool.
yeah, isn't that cool? I guess are we ready to go onto
Sure.
resetting since we're working with evolving and into light now we're ready to start the resetting process?
Right.
So I love these cards. This is from the consciousness deck. Pardon my shine on the cards. So these are all shaped in the form of the human head, and each design, each image inside the head is mind-boggling because it brings you lots of ideas. And each one of these cards start with the phrase, I am grateful for. This specific card is about being grateful for the awareness of perceived limitations, patterns, and attachments that are in keeping us from making the moves we need to make and moving forward. So if we're aware of them, if we know about them, then we can make that shift and we can concentrate on making that shift and releasing those constrictions, giving us the opportunity to reset our present reality. And that's what it's all about, because as we evolve, we create our own realities with our actions, with our beliefs, with our thoughts, with our deeds. And and when we perceive what we're doing, we have the opportunity to grow and to reset from where we are to step into something new. So I've had so many, I would also call this a do-over, like resetting and a do-over. It's going into something new, but it's also the opportunity to do something over. And
Right.
boy, those are incredible moments. I've had some dreams that were catastrophic, but at the end it turned out that I was saved and it was a do-over dream. You have
Nice.
a chance to do this over differently. So
Nice.
yeah, this is our resetting and our do-over card. Your thoughts, Carole?
Well, it just reminded me of, we talked about resistance in the first card, and
Right.
I feel like a lot of the attachments that we have create part of that resistance of and we may not be aware of it, but because we're so attached to something and we're so wanting it to happen in a certain way. Or I know for myself, for many years I was trying to control as much as I could, because then there's a meaning behind it for me. And so that attachment kind of restricted me into staying small or staying hidden, or just staying quiet and not rubbing any feathers. And so I think that those attachments can really become a an obstacle, and create that resistance to us
Absolutely.
evolving into light, and having the opportunity to reset.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It makes me, when you're talking about those obstacles and how we become attached to them, my mind tends to think in oracle cards and tarot cards. And so my mind goes to the devil in the tarot deck, because it's about being chained to what no longer serves you. You need
Okay.
to release it. You need to let it go. So
Okay.
yeah, I really, really like that idea of you got to let it go before you can move forward.
But it's not easy when you're in it to see what needs shifting.
It
So
is
I think
not.
that's why at the beginning of the journey, I think it's beneficial to have someone support you in the process, so that then you become more apt to noticing things. And the more you pay attention, again, the more you pay attention, then the more it gets revealed. And
Absolutely.
so,
Absolutely. And you've done that a lot for me because
okay.
you're so good at pointing things out and you ask really great questions, or you'll share an experience and then it'll hit me like, oh my God. we have some amazing discussions about just that kind of thing, and support that shift, those shifts, and revamping those patterns or releasing them. You're right. It's really nice to have a support system for sure.
So then the next card that we pulled is I Am Titanite from our crystal deck. You got it? Okay. Yep. So this is I don't know, I just really love this card. And look in the center, it looks like there's a face there.
Yeah, the image in this card looks like some kind of it's like a king wearing some kind of a horned
big mustache
helmet. He's got a beard and he's got a mustache.
Yeah.
Here's his nose and his eyes. He's some kind of a majestic leader, and he has his arms up here, maybe with his fists. He's pretty powerful, and a Titan is a giant, and this is Titanite, so it's interesting.
So Titanite voices the message of see through the inner world, the outer world, the worlds between. Come dream with me. I invite you to join me, opening yourself to new perceptions. Again, we're talking about perceptions. Move with me in and out of dimensions, expanding your consciousness. So that relates back to the multidimensionality, into evolving into light. Come with me to other realities. So that ties it back to the resetting.
Right.
We're creating new realities. I love this. Mm-hmm. And then, taking into other planes of existence, stretching your thinking. So now it invites you to visit alternate universes.
Yeah. Right, and expand.
And calling on your intuition. There are many eyes with which to see. What realities will you uncreate, create, and recreate? Because it's always an opportunity to like you said, we talked about the resetting and the do-overs. So this is one time I was shown one of my sessions, I'm shown a lot of things during my meditations and things like that, or just I'll get hits, and I was shown like an old tape player.
Oh, right.
And then I had two buttons, and one is says replay, and then the other one was reset. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool. What a great message. You got a message in that meditation for sure.
So it's always funny the way they communicate the information I get. But here it's also inviting you to take a detour to past lives. Who would you like to meet? Other beings, other selves? Journey with me, showing me what worlds you're dreaming to being. You are the manifestor. So for me, going into, we talked about patterns and the resetting. So for me, when I started doing a lot of past life regressions and going into my Akashic records, that's why I love to lead people into that, because I've found so much wisdom in that, and it showed me the patterns. It just, you can't ignore that, and it also it made it so I could see it so well that it allowed me to know what needed shifting, because it just kept showing up in different scenarios, and then I could see that it's an energy that lingered, and it's like, okay, what I know now, I know what to do now. So
and then you're able to manifest it.
Yes. Yeah, and then with the resetting, and then the the looking at the patterns, looking at the perceptions, looking at the world in a different way, from a fearful world to an inviting world. Those are two different energies behind it. So.
Right. And the final phrase in this is you are the manifestor, which is really interesting because this was our third deck. And our manifestor deck was our final deck, but the information was already coming in. These are messages that came in through multidimensional beings that we recognize here on planet Earth in this three-dimensional environment. We recognize them as crystals. That's how we perceive them here. That's how we see them. We can touch them here, crystals and stones, and some metals. But they're multidimensional beings, and they sent the message through. So already, before we even got to our final deck, we were being told about becoming our own manifestors. And
And,
there's all the tools right here in this card, tells you right how to do it.
right. And then, and it's, I feel like it's almost the being in the middle. It's kind of like the overseer or this the maybe it could be when you're connecting with this card, it feels like it could be the guide that helps you get into your Akashic records. I just
The
got
guide or the guardian. He
yeah,
feels like a guide or
exactly.
a guardian to me. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It just kind of like, connecting with them will give you the access. Um, I don't know. It's just interesting. I just noticed in it that way. And then with the spiral, for me, the spiral is always the symbol of just evolving, just keep on
Yeah.
evolving. So
Up leveling. Yeah, because
right.
the circle, you start in one place and you come right back around to the beginning. But in a spiral, you start one place and you come back around. But when you get to the beginning, you level up and do another loop. So
Right.
spirals are my one of my favorite symbols. And they're to me, they're always evolving and up leveling.
And I love it's almost like every eye within this card is another universe. It's another
Yes.
dimension. It feels
Yeah.
like it's inviting you to really kind of connect with each of the eyes, because then you're gonna discover something different.
Right,
So
right.
this
And
is really interesting.
the image in this card, let me see if I can get a close up for you. The image, let's see, where is he? There he is. Their image, there's lots of things in here that look like eyes, like right there. That
Hmm.
looks like an eye. There's an eye on the other
Right.
side. And you see them all over the image. It's like there's guardian or this guide surrounded by eyes that are peering out at you, and then you get drawn into them and peer into them.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so maybe I'm reading too much into it, but the if you look at the corner,
Hmm.
it almost looks like to me it almost looks like a silhouette of another face.
Oh yeah.
You have the nose, the mouth, and then this eye.
Yeah, right,
Like I'm looking at the right
right here.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So that's interesting too.
So
So
one of the things that we always say about our decks is that we have a curator of our decks. She has all of our decks. She's amazing. She is a very gifted metaphysician in her own right. And every time she uses, we get together with her and we talk to her about using the deck. She says, I never see the same card twice. She
mm,
may have drawn every card in a deck multiple times, but she never sees the same card twice because she takes time to look at the images and see what's talking to her today at the
right.
moment that she pulls it. And it's the same thing for me. Like I'll look at an image of a card and then I turn it over and read the message because there's too many of them for me to memorize.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, whoa, that's not what I saw on the card today at all. Have you had that happen?
Well, it's funny because I've been into different fairs and promoting the decks with having one-on-one conversation about them, and it's like depending on the conversation, it's really interesting because something will pop that I didn't like. I can't remember the card yesterday that I was talking about with someone, but it just like I saw it in a different light, and it's always so cool to do that because it's just another layer to what has been created. So I feel like through the artistry, because I really want people to connect with the imagery, and because I want them to have more of an intuitive reading rather than hold our words, as gospel kind of thing.
Right, right.
So it's really they're really an invitation for you to go and explore. So I'm
Yeah,
proud.
this is fun. Sorry, we digress because we love our cards so much.
No, I think I think we're pointing out ways
To
to
work
look
with
at the
them,
cards in a way, and, so we're right on target.
we're right on target. And speaking of that, we are going to the I Am card. I love this deck. This is Carole's first deck. It's my favorite deck. I still use it every single day. I bought it from her several years ago, right after she published.
Yes.
I've used the deck every day since. It's always the way I start my morning with my coffee. I pull an I am card just to see what my focus for the day needs to be. So the card that came up for us, there it is. The card that came up for this reading is I am. You read the front, I am, and then you flip it over and it says centered. So this is about being centered. And I don't have enough light in here to be able to read it clearly. Here we go. So this is about choosing, making your own choices, choosing to be.
to
Go
not
ahead,
be
Carole. Would
swayed.
you read it for me? Because I can't see it.
Sure. I choose to not be swayed by external circumstances and other people's drama.
Right. So this is about choosing your own way. And so many of us are so concerned. I'm old, so I'm at that point where I really don't care what people think. But I went through a phase in my life when I'm 40 years ago, when I cared about what people thought or worried about what people thought. To some extent, I was always a little bit of an iconoclast and a rebel, but not enough to be completely oblivious about caring what people thought. This is about paying attention to what has meaning to you and what your authenticity is, and being in alignment with your own authentic self versus twisting yourself into a pretzel to please somebody else. It's about being centered in who you are. And so the question is what are some ways that you do that? What are some of the ways that you center yourself in who you are, that you recognize who you are and center yourself? And this goes back to resetting. This goes back to evolving. This goes back to all the things we've been speaking about.
Yeah, so for me, when we look at the image, I felt like the the almost like I'm gonna call them tentacles.
Yeah, they look like tentacles. They do.
It's and then in the middle, it's kind of like, you know, if you see the spiral, there's like that black hole on each side of the spiral. So that's, to me, that's kind of like the center where nothing gets you. So all the branches, all the tentacles are kind of like the distraction, and then maybe the chaos that's been created around you. And it is for you to bring back to that inner peace and calm. So, you know, the card encourages you to look at what situations distract you to what's important, and how does that affect your state of well-being. Because I think it this card doesn't, I think I have another card of boundaries, but this one kind of, you know, in terms of being centered, we need to look at what are we allowing and what are we attracting in our field. And the more,
Exactly.
the calmer, the inner, more objective, the clearer we are in owning that our presence, the the more in alignment we are, but also the more discerning we are what we can invite, what we want to invite into our field.
Exactly.
So it's, I think it helps with the discernment, and it helps with um, stepping into our potential, because we're not letting things get in our way. And it's not being selfish, it's more of, you know, we have to protect our energy,
Mhm.
because there are people that will just drain you as you're having a conversation with them, because they love your energy so much. You know, they'll come and suck everything out of you. And so, you know, this is not something that we want to attract. We want to attract the like-minded and energy-wise,
Exactly.
similar energies, you know, or
You want to, I'd like to do a little aside right here,
sure.
because, and this is about the magnificent artwork that Carole does. Carole is an artist. Her art is called in Soulistry. It's in souled art. And she works with fractals and sacred geometry. And so she was talking about the chaos and then centering. And it's so interesting because fractals, the idea of fractals come out of chaos theory, that even in chaos, there are patterns and there is organization. And that's what fractals are. So it was so interesting that you talked about chaos and then becoming centered, because that's her art form is involved with chaos theory and fractals.
And for me, the lighter blue, is the light.
Right.
Between the chaos, within the in between the chaos, there is the path of illuminated path, kind of. And
Exactly. And
that
the lighter
cross.
blue reminds me of the
Yes.
throat chakra
Yeah,
and
okay.
standing up and speaking your truth and setting your boundaries and discerning and all and doing all of those things.
Yeah. So, okay. Then the last card that we pulled is from the color deck,
From the color deck.
and it's golden amber. And golden amber, its qualities invite you to appreciate magic, creativity, and manifestation. So, we talked about stepping into your potential in some ways with the ability to evolve into your light, and then and resetting. So this invites you to be open to the experience of feeling the magic within all of my creative projects, and beautifully aligned to synchronistic manifestation. So as we come, I think I can say from my own experiences, as I evolved into light, I tapped into my creative side, and with less calories, because I used to cook. So I like this medium better.
Yeah.
It was my outlet then, because I had to feed a family, and I grew up in the food industry. But now it's kind of like this. I love to bring beauty. I love to bring, um, when you tap into that creative side of you, it's kind of like fuels your it fills your soul, it fills your heart, and it's just a really beautiful way to show the contribution that you can make into the world. So I think every type of creativity is uh, can be an awe-inspiring um, approach
Absolutely.
to
And this
life.
card also talks about manifestation again. This was the second deck. So one of the things that I love about, besides what the information that's given on the card, and I love that this card, all of these cards open with the phrase, I am open to the experience of. It's so important to be open to experiences. Hold up your card, Carole. The colors are better on your camera than mine. Those of you who are looking in, notice all of the oranges and the yellows, and then those arrows of the deeper colors coming out, pointing direction and expressing movement and action and explosion. This is a card about fire. Fire
Mhm.
is action and movement and motion and passion. It's about finding your bliss. It's about feeding your soul. It's about creativity and self-discovery. And all of the yellow and the orange in this, the orange makes me think of my second chakra, which is your creative center. And the
Right.
yellow makes me think of my third chakra, my solar plexus. That's your power center. That's where you carry your power. Sometimes we give it away, sometimes we allow it to be taken, but we need to pull that back in and hold on to that power. And this is about standing in your power and expressing, shooting your creativity out for all to enjoy.
Nice. I appreciate. I love the way that you've just described things, because it's so true, and just beautifully said.
Thank you.
I
Well,
I
it's a beautiful card. It's easy to talk about because it's so beautiful.
and I think I love the part of the movement, like you talked about the arrows. It's yeah. It's
It's
and
like
then
a
this.
geyser. It's
Yeah.
like geysers of energy coming out and shooting that creativity and that energy out so that you can actually experience it, be involved in it, be part of it in
And
that whole creative process.
I love that you mentioned fire, because fire is also used to release things.
Yes,
So, so that you could use also this card as a way to release,
you
connecting
could.
to
You
its
absolutely
frequencies,
could.
and then, kind of imagine a cauldron, and then you're putting the I was doing a
Exactly.
meditation one day, and then through the meditation, it was inviting us to use a cauldron, and put all your stuff into the cauldron that you know that you wanted to let go. And I'm like, why should I limit myself to a cauldron? I'm bringing a dumpster.
We have a cauldron card in our manifestation deck. And we have a recipe that goes with it, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like again, you know, I'm shown different things, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna limit myself to a cauldron. It's too small. Let me put a dumpster on.
A cauldron would be too small for me too. I would need a dumpster.
So so and then you know the way that I was explaining the deck yesterday in my at the fair at the store that I was invited to participate was I really believe that the colors are being underutilized because like for me most of my life I didn't tap into my magic. I didn't feel like I was tapping into my creativity. I mean, yes, I was doing certain things, but it wasn't to the extent that I'm doing now. And the manifesting was really opposite of what I would have liked for myself. So you know, for me, not only you're connecting to the frequencies of the colors, and they can change your mood. They can enliven you, but also connecting to their quality, each of the quality, and then having that sensorial experience of what did it feel like to be magical? How would you feel if you felt like you were magical? So what does magic, how do you define magic for yourself? So, you know, that invitation of connecting to each of the qualities is also very powerful in you recognizing who you are, remembering who you are, and
Exactly.
knowing that, you know, there's things within that haven't been tapped into yet. So
Exactly.
I love that you know it always gives us opportunities to grow.
Exactly. And you know what else this card makes me think of, because it's golden amber. And when you think about what amber is, it glows because it was alive. It was the blood. It was the life's blood of a tree. But it became petrified and it turned into a stone. And sometimes there's creatures stuck in them. So you get to see somebody from ancient times. And it's like it was a shield. It shielded a wound on a tree. And it was alive. And so that glow and that fire and that life is fossilized and petrified into it. And it's just an amazing, amazing thing that, and it's a form of creativity too, because the sap that keeps a tree alive has helped create the tree, and it helps keep it alive. So yeah, I love this card. It's one of my faves.
Thank you. This was wonderful. I think we got a little bit more than we expected with that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and it's are the color cards are like the I am cards. They're right to the point. They're like nuggets. They're like pearls. They're the grist. They're the pearls of wisdom that just give that information out in a short amount of words. It's easy to hold on to, but they're so rich in symbology and meaning. You just have to spend a little time with them and think about it. And it was easy for us to digress, wasn't it? We went off onto tangents with that really well.
So we host an Oracle Circle every third Sunday of the month. So you're welcome to join us. You're welcome to bring your own decks. And we usually prepare a spread according to what the message is. So that's always part of the theme that we've discovered for this month. So we look forward to seeing you. And what else? We have our Facebook group, the Body of Wisdom Oracle Circle, that you can join us there. Rosie shares some readings. I share the daily oracles from that in there. So a few spreads and other events and things like that. So you're welcome to join us in that. What else? So if you wanted to reach us as practitioners, Rosie does energy work on individuals and pets as well. And And then I do different kind of things also, and she does readings and the energy work. So here's our information.
Yes.
We look forward to seeing everyone next time, right?
Right. It was so awesome.
Thank you, Rosie, for always your wisdom and insights. I appreciate your support with everything.
Right back at you.
And we hope that you are enjoying a blissful, soulful month of February.
Absolutely. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody who celebrates.
Thank you. Bye.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.